All right, Raiders. We're getting ready for some syntax analysis. I'm going to have my daughter film this video because I probably will need to talk really, really fast and then upload it so that you can go back and review at your own pace. So I'm going to sit down first and explain to you the parts of speech and the parts of a sentence, because you have to understand those grammar fundamentals in order to be able to analyze syntax or word arrangement. So you are aware of this book. I had you to take pictures in the fall before this pandemic started. And if you have erased all of those pictures, you're going to have to take notes. All right, there are 8 parts of speech in the English language. The first one you learned in the first grade, a noun. It's a word that names a person, place, thing, or idea. And so when you think of a tree, that's a thing, that's a noun. Teacher, that's a noun. Girl, boy, home, those are nouns. But if I give you a specific noun, Julio Gonzalez, Yolanda Neely, Mary Brown, those are specific people. Those are proper nouns. When you're analyzing a sentence, you want to find the subject, because you can have several nouns in a sentence, but not all of them will be the subject. The subject is the one specific noun that entire sentence is about. The second part of speech is a verb. A verb is an action word. Verbose. They can indicate action like walking, running, singing, speak, talk, jump, think. They can be physical actions like walk, skip, run, or they can be mental actions like suspect, considered, remember. So a verb is a word that shows action, whether it's physical or mental, or state of being. So linking verbs show state of being. Linking verbs link or join or connect the subject with a complement. For example, if I say, I am a teacher, am is the verb. It shows that I exist, like estoy or yo soy, I am. It's not an action you can see, it's just that I exist, I'm here. So the verbs is, am, are, was, were, those are all linking verbs. You also have linking verbs that deal with your 5 senses. If you think about the word look, if you see me peek to see who's over there, then that's a physical action. But if you say she looks tired, that is a linking verb. It shows you that I am tired or I seem to be tired. So words like look, tastes, sounds, seems, becomes, those are also verbs, but they're linking verbs. All right, so we've covered 2, the noun and the verb, first 2 parts of speech. A verb is also called a predicate when you're analyzing a sentence, because the predicate is the verb, or it shows what the subject does or what the subject is. And so those are the first 2 parts of speech that you need to know when you're analyzing your own syntax, because if you don't have a subject, sujeto, is that the Spanish? And if you don't have a verb or predicate, then your sentence is going to be a fragment because it's missing an essential part. So we got the first 2 parts of speech and the first 2 parts of a sentence. All right, so let me go back to parts of speech. So you have nouns, you have verbs, you have adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe nouns. They answer the questions, which one, what kind, how many. So if the noun is girl and I say pretty girl, pretty is an adjective because it tells you what kind of girl. If the noun is school and if I say high school, high is an adjective because it tells you what kind of school. So if a word tells you what kind, which one, how many, that word is an adjective. The fourth part of speech is a pronoun. A pronoun is a word that substitutes or takes the place of a noun. Rather than saying Miss Neely or Mary Brown or Julio Gonzalez, I can say she or I can say he. So pronouns, and I know we have issues with pronoun case, they take the place of a noun, and oftentimes in our writing we tend to want to rely too much on pronouns, and it's better to be specific. If my subject is Mary Brown, I don't want to start all my sentences saying she did this and she did this and this was her idea, because if you're talking about more than one noun, I can easily become confused. So, some pronouns can be used as the subject. He, she, it, I, you. Those are called nominative case pronouns because they can be the subject of a sentence. Some pronouns are reflexive pronouns. If I say I did it myself, myself is a reflexive pronoun. It refers back to the subject I. Yourself. If you did your work yourself, you didn't cheat, yourself is a reflexive pronoun. If we did it ourselves, we is a pronoun. It's a plural first person pronoun. We did it ourselves. Ourselves is a reflexive pronoun. So if a word ends in self or selves, those are reflexive pronouns. We also have pronouns that show ownership. My or mine. Your or yours. His, hers, its. Those are all possessive pronouns because they indicate who owns it. Those words can also be used as an adjective in a sentence. If I said this is his game, even though his is a pronoun, because it also tells me which game, which one, his game, it could also be in a syntax analysis considered an adjective. All right, so when you're learning the parts of speech, you're learning what categories generally a word falls into. But when you're doing syntax analysis or diagramming a sentence, you're thinking specifically about the function of that specific word in that sentence. All right, so we've talked about nouns, we've talked about verbs, we've talked about pronouns and adjectives. Now let's talk about adverbs. Adverbs are words that modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. They answer questions like when, where, how, why, to what extent, under what conditions. An adverb is going to be limiting or modifying a verb. For example, if I'm talking about the fact that I'm explaining, I am explaining. Explaining is the verb because that's what I'm doing. But if I'm explaining quickly, I'm going too fast for you to write this down. Quickly is an adverb because it tells you to what extent I'm explaining. I'm explaining quickly. So words like quickly, slowly, fast, seldom, very, those are adverbs. All right, and then you have prepositions. We talked about prepositions in school because those of you who are bilingual and trilingual, we oftentimes have issues with prepositions. And so a preposition is a word that shows relationship between a noun and another noun or pronoun in the sentence. For example, I have a book here. This book is on my couch. The book is on top of the blanket, or I can say the blanket is on the book, or the book is under. So on, under, near, beside, all those words are prepositions. And a prepositional phrase will begin with a preposition and end with a noun. So if I say on the couch is a prepositional phrase. Or under the blanket, or under the green blanket, or on the silver couch. All of those words that show that relationship between the nouns and the pronouns are prepositions. All right, the last two parts of speech are conjunctions. Those are easy because they connect or join. So words like and, or, nor, for. Think of the fanboys. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. They connect or they join sentences. They join or connect words. Those are conjunctions. And then interjections oftentimes have no grammatical connection to the rest of the sentence, but an interjection is the eighth part of speech. So words like, oh, well, they're oftentimes, as I said, words that don't have much of a grammatical connection to the rest of the sentence. All right, so just for the sake of review, the 8 parts of speech are nouns, verbs, adjectives, pronouns, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, interjections. Those are the 8 parts of speech.